Hello, everybody, and welcome to Middle Age Geeks, a weekly podcast where we chat about anything and everything geeky that comes our way, be it games, movies, TV, and everything in between. I'm one of your hosts, Daz, and I'm joined by my trusty co-host, a man who had an imaginary friend until he was 20 years of age. It's Phil. How are you doing, Philly?
I told you, it's called schizophrenia. I'm actually doing pretty well. Yeah, I'm interested to do the movie this week. Hello, everybody. It's going to be a fun week. It's going to be one of those ones where you tune in and just hear us taking the piss. It should be good.
Absolutely. Yeah. So on this week's show, we'll get into some news and what we've played and watched as per usual, and then get stuck into our movie review this week. But before that, let's get into some news. Is there anything that tickled your fancy this week, Philly?
A little bit just over the last couple of weeks. There hasn't been a massive amount in the last week, but one thing that jumped out with me, because you Daz, you had spoken a bit about Helldivers a couple of weeks ago, and about how it was getting review bombed because of Sony and their insistence on people having a PSN account, which they backtracked on.
Yeah.
But Ghost of Tsushima, which is a PlayStation exclusive, has then been released on PC, and it just seems like out of spite, people are just review bombing Ghost of Tsushima because of what happened with Helldivers. It's like, come on, there's no need for that. It's crazy, isn't it? There's no need for that. I get it, you were pissed off at what happened, but Ghost of Tsushima is an incredible game. So anybody listening who hasn't played it, don't listen to the review bombs on Steam. It's a fantastic game.
It's such a toxic element to the fanboydom. I thought it was
so petty.
It's always I thought it was just between console wars and I love Sony, Xbox is fucking shit or whatever, and you see that in comments for reviews all the time. And for even one of the games I was playing this week, if you have a look at the comments, it's so petty, it's so shit, it's so people just wasting their time going, I heard it's fucking shit, and someone going, it's not even out yet, you dope, this kind of stuff. But it seems that that's over on the PC side as well, where people just go out and just fucking play a game. You know what I mean? It's just have fun, and it just goes down that rabbit hole of comment sections in general. I mean, once, whether it's social media or YouTube or whatever, when people removed the dislike button but allowed you to comment, that's just 1,000 times worse. Take away the ability to comment negative shit. If you want to say something good. If it's bad, say nothing. If you don't like it, just hit dislike. There just should be a down thumb. That's perfectly fine. This review bombing stuff is just it's petty, and it's juvenile.
This is why you're our social media manager, because I fucking hate social media. I don't like posts. I don't like commenting. I don't fucking use it. I'll use it to go on and check what the latest fucking transfer rumors are, or a bit of news. But I just don't post. I don't like I remember we're aging ourselves here, but when we would have been in our 20s when Facebook and stuff came out, there was no toxicity, because it was just you can poke someone or you can do whatever, and it was just it was just a way of keeping in contact with mates we have around the world. It was fantastic. And then social media now is just a horrible
it's a cesspit, absolute fucking cesspit.
But I didn't think out. The other thing was, and we've mentioned her name a few times over the last few weeks, is Sydney Sweeney, and she is she's already been cast, I know, in the remake of Barbarella.
Yeah,
that's an older movie. I think it's the 60s, isn't it? Was it 60s? Yeah,
I think it's
with James Fonda. But with Edgar Wright now is attached to direct, which will be class.
Such a good directing choice. I
mean, because not only Sydney Sweeney super hot, you've also got an actually excellent fucking director as well. I love Edgar Wright stuff. So that should be cool. And then the only other thing was last week we spoke about Nic Cage. Yeah. And Prime announced their Nic Cage is going to be in their Spider-Man Noir. They described it as just a story of an aging and down on his luck private investigator in the 1930s in New York, who's forced to grapple with his past life as the city's one and only superhero. And that's just brilliant. Fucking awesome, isn't it? It's got to be great, man. And we had said recently, Prime have been doing well with Fallout, so it's fingers crossed now they do well with this. But it's exciting news, that one.
Yeah, the premise alone, because the premise is fantastic when you just read it out there, and then you just throw Nic Cage into it and the form he's in, you're just going, oh yeah, bring it on, man. Yeah, Prime are doing
Yeah.
some brilliant stuff now.
What about you? Anything in the news for you at the moment?
Yeah, you touched on Helldivers there, and PlayStation came out and said Helldivers 2 is now their fastest selling game of all time. It's sold like 12 million
Wow.
copies in 12 weeks, which is fucking phenomenal. And I still try and, like, I don't play it as much as I did when it came out, but when I read that, like, I'd try and dip in at least once a week for a few matches. But it's because it's like community based, and they're just constantly revealing new planets. I dip back in, and with three trusty players on our team that I didn't even know who they were. We played about 4 or 5 missions against those robotic automaton things, and
Yeah.
just fucking bananas again. Bananas, absolute. There's all new kind of mechs in it now, and it's just growing, and it's just bananas and out of control. Like you 20 minutes in that, and you feel like you've run a marathon. It's just like, put the controller down, take a fucking break, have a Valium, relax.
Isn't that great though?
Brilliant.
It's not a game that came out of nowhere because obviously it had been announced and all the rest of it, but it wasn't a franchise a lot of people knew about.
Yeah. I didn't know anything about the first one. Even.
Yeah. But yeah, for it to come in like that, it just, I think they've kept, for the most part, toxicity and stuff, to a minimum, and it just seems to be just a fun ass game and a good fun community. I only played it when it first came out and haven't gone back to it, so I'm so far off the pace. Like, hopefully, when I return back, there's like they put me in like the bunny slopes when you go snowboard.
Baby mode.
Start me off back in there, yeah. But yeah, no, a quality game, and it's just a good, fun, satirical take on it. It's great crack.
Yeah, it's just Starship Troopers in a video game. It's great. But more kind of numbers news. Whether the Switch sales were recently kind of revealed in some like a company director's report. It said that it's just passed like 150 or 140 million consoles sold, which puts it third behind the Nintendo DS is 152, and I think the PS2 was like 158, 160. So like the PS2 was untouchable for ages until the DS came close, but it looks like the Switch, before the new successor to it comes out next year, people said it's definitely going to top the PS2 and become the biggest and most successful gaming console ever, which is quite astonishing after like the Wii, and then the colossal disappointment that the Wii U was, to come back so strong. The Switch is just taking over everything, and even when the new console comes out, they'll definitely still support the Switch, and people will still buy the Switch rather than upgrading, because it's just, the catalog is phenomenal for it.
Oh, it's such a cracking console, and it's like they've done with the Wii. It's targeted for all ages. You know what I mean? It's really a family orientated thing, which is what Nintendo are kind of known for. And it really it's such a fun console. And I know a lot of people will bitch about it and say, well, it's not up to the standards, because it was out around the same time we were getting like the PlayStation 4 and stuff, and you're saying, okay, well, it's not meant to be, because granted, you can't take your PlayStation 4 out, out in public on the bus on a screen that's the same size as a tablet, and play it and hook it up multiplayer. I mean, in order to do that, your PS4 needs to have some of these big cases you see the football players traveling with, so they can play their PlayStation. Like, this piece of technology is incredible. So of course, it can't run what a PlayStation 4 could run, and definitely not what a PlayStation 5 can run. But the games that it can run, it's very smart with them. Like we've said with Zelda and Donkey Kong and all these things, it's very clever about how the using the technology properly. But it's what a success story. Everybody knows.
It's astonishing.
It's the same way everybody had a DS. We did the anniversary of the DS quite recently, and as we were saying, everybody fucking had one. Some households have 2 or 3 of the fucking things.
Just crazy, right? Yeah. So all the power to Nintendo. Hope they can keep it going with the successor to be named later this year. But last bit of news then quickly was personal one that pissed me off was Ubisoft cancelled The Division Heartland, which was the 3rd installment in that franchise. And I was a massive fan of it, but apparently the Heartlands was supposed to move to a free-to-play model, which obviously went tits up behind the scenes. So it's in development for about 3 years. And I love the first 2 games. Such great post-apocalyptic third-person shooters. Second one was just an absolute gorgeous game, and I loved it. But instead, they seem to be doubling down on this game X Defiant, which apparently is out next week or some shit like that, which just kind of came out of nowhere.
No buzz about it.
There's nothing whatsoever, and it's like it's an awful name, no buzz. It looks like a free-to-play multiplayer looter shooter or something, and it's just like absolute zero interest. So, but apparently, the good news out of it is that no one is losing their jobs that was working on the games. Ubisoft, they're obviously reading the room, and they said, no, we're just moving the team and disbanding it and moving into different departments or whatever like that, because they, like Ubisoft, employ about 20,000 people, and they already let 2,000 people go, I think, last year. So at least there's no more shitty news on the gaming working front this week anyway.
Yeah.
So let's get on to then what we played and watched. Did you play and watch anything decent this week?
I didn't yet, because I kind of wanted to get into, and you'll discuss it as well. I wanted to get into Hellblade 2, which came out yesterday, but I haven't got the chance. The reviews are kind of, they're good, but not amazing, and I was hoping they would really build on what they had done. But you're going to discuss it more because you've actually gotten into it.
Yeah.
But apart from that, the usual, I've been jumping into little mini games, indie games on Game Pass, because it's great to be back in there again, you know. I was thinking I might try I'm not even sure if Ori is still on there, but I think I might go back and play the 2 Ori games again.
Oh, they're so good.
They're just magical. And then watching, right? So, oh God, I watched a terrible movie that we knew was terrible going into it, because we discussed Silver Surfer last week, and I love Galactus. I love Silver Surfer. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back and just see just how bad it was. And it's fucking terrible. Like, but it's just...
Which one?
This Rise of Silver Surfer, the sequel, and it's like, it's so fucking bad. It's just, I wanted to go back, like anything with Silver Surfer, and I love him. But yeah, just the way they did Galactus was muck. They obviously they changed, like Doug Jones plays the surfer when he's not in CG mode, and Doug Jones has a very prominent overbite, you know, like he has he's a very distinctive face, and he's incredible at playing all these type of characters. But they don't do that when they're doing the actual digital version of him. They don't do that. They don't give him Doug's face, you know, in it, the mouth, the way his mouth moves. So, you know, obviously, and Lawrence Fishburne is the one doing the voice. But so when he's all CG and everything, he looks different than he does when they actually have him in person and those things. It's like, well, why couldn't you just, if you're going to CG the face anyway, just use the same, just use CG Doug's face. Like, I mean, it made no sense.
The animation,
but, I mean,
that
Jesus,
was
that's
shit anyway, wasn't it?
But but it was per it's a fucking bad movie. But I just wanted to go back just because we talked about it. I was like, fuck it, I'll just throw it on and give it a watch. But no, it's because we're recording this one obviously only a few days after the last one, because you are getting a well-deserved holiday, so I haven't had much of a time to get into much. What about yourself?
Well, what I watched, not too much, but my wife is rewatching The Wire, so that got me into thinking about trying to get back into something that I hadn't, or that I really got into, but like during lockdown when my daughter was born like 4 years ago, was The Expanse. So I said, actually, and I saw it just coming up on Prime, and I was like, actually, I would like try and go back into that, because I really fucking enjoyed that. I was watching at 4:00 in the morning with a little like 4-week-old baby, you know, so you got to watch something. But I really enjoyed it back then. I tried to get back into it and watch an episode, and it's one of those where I think it just left it too long, where obviously it remembered where I was, but when I started the episode, it was just like, I don't know what's going on. I really don't know what's going on. So it did that thing where, and it's kind of a few episodes into season 2, so I went back and did I'll try an episode before. Still had no fucking clue. Just like,
you're gonna have to restart it,
so I just have to restart it. So I might, because I really enjoyed that. But I just fear that has it gone too far ahead of me now, and it kind of, you know, up at season 4, and you know, I think there might be even season 5 or something. But yeah, hopefully I'll get back into that at some stage. But playing wise, I started Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 last night. Got about 2 hours in. And it's interesting, I started playing it before I read the reviews, and I was about, I think 20 minutes into it, and 20, I think it was 20 minutes or 30 minutes into it, and I remember just stopping and just thinking to myself, like, all I've done so far is just press forward on the
Yeah,
controller,
yeah, yeah.
and it's
It's pretty
like,
much how the first one starts as
yeah,
well.
that's what I was going to ask you,
Um,
like, because I don't remember the first one too much. I remember bits about it, but I don't remember the actual experience. It's a lot of kind of, it's like a glorified walking simulator for the most part.
yeah,
There's
but you
combat
get,
and
I
stuff in
mean,
it, yeah.
yeah, but there's no, there's no HUD or anything like that, and
Mm,
which is great. But you're kind of, and there's puzzles and there's stuff like that, but it's linear, and I
yeah,
kind of thought that what they'd build such a fucking amazing character,
mm,
that they'd expand on it. I'm not saying I want an open world game, but
yeah, no,
something bigger and add more elements into it and stuff. And I just, by the sounds of it, they haven't really done that. And as I said, the one of the reviews I read was calling it gorgeous but pointless.
yeah,
Which is just it's kind of just showing off the tech what they can do, with
that's
the
exactly, yeah.
technologically, rather than kind of going to the substance of the game itself.
Mm,
Which is a bummer. And like, don't get me wrong, I'm gonna play it. It's I love the first one so much, and I love the character that I will definitely play this. But it was just I was expecting to see incredible reviews coming out for it. Now
yeah.
they're still good. You know what I mean? I
Oh,
think you
like
see
it's
them around
solid.
seven or sevens or eights. I mean,
Yeah,
it's decent, but it's just not up where I thought it was going to be, which would be like nines and 9.5s and tens. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Especially like when the first one came out, what, 2017, 2018, and they revealed this 5 years ago, and had obviously been working on it for like at least 5 years, five maybe 6 years when we got that first kind of teaser trailer,
Mm.
and it's good, but it is more the same. It's obviously an audio and visual showcase for next gen. It's mad that we're still kind of going, oh, it's a showcase for next gen 4 years into the next generation of consoles. But
Are
the
we
audio
4 years in
experience,
now?
yeah, 2020,
Fuck.
which is fucking madness. But the audio, I always wondered, because they tell you at the start, you should be wearing earphones for this. Like if you didn't wear earphones, I wonder, like, do some reviewers just not wear earphones, because the uh, the audio experience is straight away you're reminded of that. It looks fantastic, but it's when you're playing it and you have people whispering in
The
different sizes of the
voices.
earphones, and
Yeah.
the heavy bass tones, and then the light whispers, and people shouting at you, and you can hear the moans and groans of people who are dying around you, and it's a feast for the eyes, especially when I'm sitting there playing it. I've got my 5-month-old son lying on the couch going, playing with his Dodie or whatever. Little does he know, and what I'm listening to is a fucking absolute carnage of a sensuous internal turmoil and fucking mental health fucking crisis. It's amazing, but it is really good. But yeah, like I think I'm maybe 2 or 3 hours in, but apparently it's only 6 hours long, which I
Mm.
don't know. I can't remember how long the first one was, but it is one of those where it's more the same when you get the similar kind of puzzles, and the combat is kind of similar. It doesn't seem as much. It seems more of a leap just in graphics, which, and the first one was fantastic enough anyway. But I am enjoying it, but it isn't that blow you away, can't stop playing. Like after half an hour, I took a break, a welcome break, to watch some TV, and then went back
Yeah.
to it. But yeah, when you have a when you finish it, we'll have a chat about it and see how we
Yeah, for sure.
how
For
we
sure.
rank it. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's get into our movie review. Take it away, Philly.
Thanks very much, Des. I suppose we should explain why we're doing this one, before we get into it. So that, like, we had initially wanted to do Humane, which we thought would be cool. It's what is Dave Cronenberg's daughter's name? The first name?
Oh,
I forget her name, but
daughter Cronenberg.
daughter Cronenberg. She's directing, her first feature length horror movie called Humane. We thought, well, that would be a really fun one to do. Um, but we got our dates mixed up, and it's not out until the end of July. So we might come
Mm-hmm.
back to that. But we thought we'd still do a horror, and this is one that I didn't see in the cinema. Which I normally see most horrors in the cinema. And I guess I was just intrigued mostly by the poster. It's just a simple teddy bear with the word imaginary written over it. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
what the fuck is this about? So we decided to we decided to do it, and fuck me, like it was bad, man. Like we normally give you a spoiler warning, like we're
There's
going to
no
talk
need.
about it. Don't watch it. Just listen to us take the piss out of it. It is not worth your time, man. It is not a brisk 1 hour and 45 minutes.
Oh, it's the longest movie I've ever
a
watched.
slog. You will notice the time to the point where you might even pause and have to check and see how is this not over yet. But yeah, so imaginary, and it's I suppose I'll give you the plot first. It's and I'm using that word very generously. Yeah. When Jessica, played by DeWanda Wise, moves into her childhood home with her family, her youngest stepdaughter, Alice, played by Piper Braun, develops an eerie attachment to this stuffed bear named Chauncey that she finds in the basement. And she starts playing games with Chauncey that, are playful and then become increasingly sinister. And as Alice's behavior becomes more and more concerning, Jessica intervenes only to realize Chauncey is much more than the stuffed bear she believed him to be. So this one, Rotten Tomato score of 24%.
Oh, that's generous.
It was made for 13 million, but it pulled in 39 million.
Of course.
So it's like it's tripled its
There'll
money.
Be a sequel.
Which happens with Blumhouse movies. You know what I mean? They can produce these things for such a small amount and make money out of them. They're fucking experts at it. And yeah, it was Jeff Wadlow is the director, who actually we talked before about if you've got different directors and different writers, you can kind of go, okay, one of them can blame the other for it being a dumpster fire, but he was one of the writers on this as well, so he can't even weasel his way out of it. But yeah, that's my take, Des. What before we get into it, why don't you tell us what your overall take from this one was?
Oh, it's you say it's like, was it an hour and 46 minutes? I think I texted you. I was about 20 minutes in, and I was convinced that I've been watching it for about an hour and 20 minutes. It's a fucking terrible movie, man, and on almost every level. I'd say, while the premise, if you read out shortened premises or little log lines on it, it sounds like it has a bit of potential. Like, enjoy that kind of, imaginary friend, see what you can do, imaginary worlds and all this. But it's a horrible script. The worst thing is it's fucking boring. Like, it's boring.
That's it. It is boring.
Not even scary. The execution of everything was just so substandard. The dialogue, my God, the fucking dialogue. We'll get into some of the most hilarious moments of this.
The laugh out loud moments. Just The
casting's bad. The acting's bad. The kid's probably maybe the best thing in it, but the bar is so low. We'll get into just towards towards the second half of it, which is like after been watching it for 4 months, it feels like, when this kid, when she says the word Chauncey or something, you almost fucking bite your tongue. You just go, if you say that fucking word again, kid, she says it like 200 times. Just like,
there must be a check online, see if there's a count of how many times the bear's name is fucking said.
Do a drinking game at that, you'd be fucking plastered within about 5 minutes. It's just wasn't scary. Anything that was scary was just cheapy, shitty jump scares. I just thought it was lame, and most important, the worst thing, boring. Like, it wasn't even so bad it's good. It's so bad that this is just really fucking bad. Did you like it?
It was pants, but it's gonna be fun to take the piss out of. So look, I'll just get in. We'll kind of we won't have to go massive scene by scene, but we can just, if you jump in, if you found any part of it hilarious or ridiculous, but we get a kind of a cold open before we get the credits, which is Jessica in the house, and we don't know what's chasing her at first, but then it's some fucking dude that wears eyes. It's a monster that turns into a spider creature, but of course she wakes up and it's a nightmare. And we find then she lives with her husband, Max, who's played by Thomas Paine. So he was in, I think, that Prodigal, the TV show Prodigal. He was also in The Walking Dead. I only know him really from The Walking Dead. Yeah, he was Jesus in The Walking Dead.
He's a terrible actor. Like, he's terrible actor.
But he's fucking pointless in this movie. He is a bad father. Like, he is gone. They had him front set for a day, I would say, because he is gone for the majority of this fucking movie. He's not around. But
the chemistry they have together is non-existent. Just like, do they do any screen tests? It's just like, oh, he'll do, and it's like, oh yeah, we're fucking married or whatever, and it's just like, you just met each other 2 minutes ago. Just
But he's not in the movie enough to have have chemistry with her. But like I said, like we have, she has stepkids with him, and the older one, doesn't like him. But we kind of get, like, as I said, we're moving in the synopsis, we're moving into like Jessica's family home, and she's like a writer of kids' books and stuff. And then we get the opening credits, and basically it's like an old VHS movie of young Jessica playing outside the house and all that kind of shit. And then we cut into them, moving in, and we get a little bit of foreshadowing straight away, because Jessica's showing them around the gaff, and she goes to Alice, why don't you stay in this room? And there's all this writing and drawings all over the wall that apparently Jessica did when she was younger that doesn't remember. And then we meet Taylor, the older daughter. And I literally have written in my notes, the older daughter, Taylor, is a dickhead.
Oh, she's an absolute asshole.
Yeah, like,
why do they have to write these? I know teenagers are fucking dicks and stuff, but it's just this teen angst, like, yeah, whatever, fuck it, just like,
yeah, you're not my real mom.
Yeah, why would I give a fuck about you for the rest of the movie? Just like, there's no character arc to her. Oh, she's going to be nice. Well, it doesn't matter because I don't care about her. Like, oh god. But the thing, the thing with them moving into the fucking house, first thing, but like before they moved in, they're worried if they're or she's saying to her, it is her husband or boyfriend? It's her husband, right?
I think it's husband.
Yeah. But she's saying, look, the place isn't ready, it's not finished, her dad's stuff is all over the place and they've no storage and all this blah blah, and he's going, but let's go there because it's your happy place, right? And then we find out later on it's not a fucking happy place at all. Horrible shit happened here. Like, why is it a happy place? Why are you moving in here? Like, you listed multiple reasons for not doing it. It's a terrible idea. Oh, just fucking...
Well, he just wants to get there so he can abandon his family on top of her and piss off and do his shit, like.
Go on tour,
because she's having writer's block, so she writes these kid books, with the spider character and and she's under pressure for like her publisher or whatever. She's getting phone calls and shit. But Alice asks her to go and take a break with her and play some hide and seek. And this is where we kind of first meet the teddy bear, because Alice, who is braver than I fucking, like, she hears a voice coming from the basement, and it's pitch black. And she decides she's going to go down and follow this creepy ass voice. Like, I am a 41-year-old man. I wouldn't go down into a fucking basement without the fucking creepy voice, which wasn't any lights on. It's fucking shit's terrifying. This kid is like, we better head down and see where this creepy voice is coming from.
She's either very brave or she's a fucking dope. Like, I hated that kid anyway. Just really annoying face and annoying voice. But we get to that.
But she gets down and she finds a teddy bear. And obviously we can't hear the teddy bear's side of the conversation, but she's obviously having full-blown conversations with him and calling him Chauncey. What's your name? Her name is Chauncey, and that's the Chauncey's bear. And we takes him up out of the stairs, and that's her little friend. This is basically going to be a movie revolves around this now, this imaginary friend.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it's the... Again, the neighborhood, like the neighborhood kid who he seemed kind of pointless. Like, they have a neighborhood kid called Liam, who's this dude next door, and Taylor thinks she sees someone out the front window, so she comes out into the yard, and there's Taylor cut grass, and he starts hitting on her, and Jessica comes out, and she's like, she's only 15, you creep. Like, but he just seemed like a pointless character. Like, they bring him into it later on for a scene, but he's not really needed. Do you know what I mean?
He
I don't know why they put him in
Taylor
there.
Later on, just tries to get with an underage girl. Just fucking weird character.
Yeah,
he doesn't even fucking die. Spoiler. Just like, fuck. Yeah, I thought that's why he's in it, right? That's straight away.
Yeah, I would have thought. Yeah. Yeah, so he was fucking pointless and annoying. But the dad, there's one thing that comes up, right? And this comes up multiple times, Daz. I don't know about you, but despite your opening monologue there, I didn't have an imaginary friend, right? But the dad says in it, every kid has an imaginary friend. Didn't you have one? And he says, like, he's saying it to her, and she's going, no. But he said everybody has one, as if this is common knowledge. And someone else says it later on in the movie as well. Like, of course, everybody has an imaginary friend. Like, I don't know anybody who had an imaginary friend.
No one. Anyone who had an imaginary friend was taken away and fucking locked up.
Yeah, like, I get it's a thing. I get it's a thing, and I would have fucking loved it. Like, give me fucking Drop Dead Fred, all sorts of hijinks and stuff like that, fucking all day long. But
I think people's imaginary friends is, if you're fucking sitting down playing on your own and you're, you maybe imagine having a fucking tea party with somebody or whatever. No, I didn't have tea parties when I was younger. But I'm just thinking something like that where people are pretending whatever. Shit, fucking cut that out, man. Nope. But you just imagine that that's what kids do, but not to the extent of actually having an imaginary friend who's a recurring fucking character in your life. Like I'd play with Turtles or G.I. Joes or these things, and but there's no actual imaginary thing. And I get that some kids do.
Some kids do, and I know they grow out of it, and it can be a completely normal thing for a lot of kids. I think they say, that I'm sure it probably happens a lot to, or even
everyone. I don't think
to an increased amount for sing or solo children, whatever that's that word, only child.
Yeah.
But it's just that the way he says it, every kid has one, and it's as if Jessica's a weirdo when she says, "I didn't."
Yeah.
Anyway, Alice is messing around playing hide. She wants to go in and jump in, and she with Chauncey, and she hides she's playing hide and seek with the bear now, with the imaginary friend. And so they're playing along, and they let let her jump into the bed under the covers. But then you actually can hear a noise outside.
Yeah.
And it's just the most telegraphed fucking jump scare, because Jessica's out and she's looking under the bed, and they've gone
boo.
Like the choice to go so dark with the camera, like it's almost pitch black with the camera. Yeah. And then the pan's under, and as she's looking around, all of a sudden the little kid jumps up, and then when the camera pans down
fuck off,
again,
kid! Like it's just such a mean fucking thing to do. Like, yeah.
But one important thing to remember is they laugh it off, and this will be important later on. They laugh it off, and when they pan down, the bear is under the bed, right?
Yeah,
this little teddy bear is under the bed. So anyway, Jessica overhears Alice having a conversation with Chauncey about life and people getting on and and it gives her inspiration for where she needs to go with her story. So everything's working out great for everybody. Again, we're barely seeing the dad around the place apart from when they're kind of going to bed at night. He seems to be missing the whole fucking time. And so this is one Daz, when I asked you one of the laugh out loud parts. She goes off to do she has a scavenger hunt, and she tells Jessica, I can't tell you. Chauncey says, I can't tell you. He says, you can't play. I can't tell you. But I'm off to do. And she has this list of stuff that she has to do. And she's like, he says I have to get something happy. And so Alice gives her the ball with the smiley face on it.
Yeah.
So she's grand. She's collecting bits and pieces.
She draws a little smiley face on a blue sponge ball or something.
Well, she's like, there's this. Oh, she's like, oh, thanks a million. But, Chauncey says, you can't play the game. And later in the evening, Alice hears a ball bouncing, and she follows the sound to the basement. Again, stay away from the fucking basement. But anyway, she finds the ball.
Why
and
are there no lights in basements as well? Yeah.
I know. This time they find the ball, and it has a frowny face on it. It's like, hang on a second. Didn't she draw that on? How is the ball now got a frowny face on it? What was that about? Is the ball moving? What's moving the ball? Because
it's the whole it's the way they play it with the. It's she looks down, you see the stairs and you can see the ball, but then they kind of jump cut into the ball with the sad face on it, but with the music like dun, 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 like here's a jump scare, shock, it's a fucking
you're supposed to go
ball oh my god, it's got a sad face now.
Didn't I have a smile before? This movie is fucking messing with my mind.
Shit is getting real, man. Fuck off,
it's
man.
So dumb.
It's so lame.
And if this fucking invisible friend can move shit around and do all sorts of stuff, why does it even need the kid? Like, why don't they just go around and just start moving shit and killing people and acting the maggot? Like, make no sense. But there's another part where they still think it's adorable that Alice has this. Alice has this. What's it called? Friend, imaginary friend. And as I said at the start, we get told that the mom of their biological mother is a bit nuts, but anyway, Alice is outside the room, and the door isn't the full way open, but you can see Alice is sitting there next to the bear, and she's having a conversation as if she's having another person, and she's recording how adorable it is on the phone, so she can send it to Max, who once again is never in the fucking house.
No, just
terrible father. And so as she's filming it, she moves a little bit closer and she sees there's actually a person there. She can just see the legs move and jump out of the chair. And she's like, what the fuck? There's actually a person in there. And then she goes to open the door. She gets jumped on, and it's the biological mother. And she fucking jumps on, attacking Jessica. And she says, I need to save my girls. There's evil in this house. But that's it. That's fucking her gone.
It's total just like, movie. Oh, we need something to pad up this middle fucking 10 minutes. That again feels like 45 minutes. It's completely fucking pointless because it's just throwing shit at the wall. You're just going, are you really not that confident in this fucking Chauncey imaginary friend thing? You're just throwing the fucking crazy mother in? Because straight away when that happened, it's like, what's going to happen here? What the fuck is this crazy mother going to, how is she going to play a part? And she just fucking disappears until fucking 5 minutes from the end or something. It's just like, Jesus Christ.
And even that's not actually her, and exactly. It should be, if you're going to introduce her like that, what's the reason she can sense the evil? Is that the reason she's gone nuts? Yeah. How did she get into the house, sitting in that chair? How did she find them? How did she find where they live? She's got a medical bracelet on and everything. Like, she's fucking made her way from the mental hospital, which is God knows where in the country, got all the way here and got into the house and is sitting there having like a little tea party. But if you're going to bring her in, just for a jump scare. And you could just explain and say, well, that's why she's in the nuts home. She could be like, she turns out she sees crazy shit and she's actually right. So she's not crazy after all, or whatever.
A far more interesting movie.
She's just, she just gets fucking taken away. That's it. That's the end of it. And despite being completely shook up and all the rest of it, Max is like, listen, I'm heading off on tour with the band. I know it.
I got my music to think about.
Yeah, I don't even think it mentions like that he is a musician or whatever, or that he might go off on tour at any point. But it just happens. He's like, listen, I gotta head off. And Jessica's like, look, I understand. I'll stay here and bond.
I'll deal with all this weird shit.
It's like this fucker might as well not be in the movie. What is the fucking point in him? Anyway, we start to get a bit more into Jessica's background. She meets this old neighbor outside who says she used to babysit Jessica, and she remembers Jessica having an imaginary friend. And Jessica looks perplexed, like, I don't fucking remember that. And the neighbor goes, oh, there was a tragedy in the past and a tragedy in the house. I'm like, all right, well, let's see where this goes. But then they leave that for a good while. They just got to leave it at that.
Like, it's exposition dump grandma. That's what I have her listed as.
Yeah.
She arrives when you need to.
That's all she's in it for.
I need to tell you something here, so I'm just going to appear for a few seconds. It's like, oh, fuck off, Gloria, you fucking weird neighbor. Like,
what happens to her is hilarious later on. But Alice is now starting to act weird because now not only is she, we're not hearing Chauncey's side of the thing. Now she's kind of talking back to herself in Chauncey's, like her voice, but Chauncey speaking. So it's kind of a bit weird and creepy. And despite this, and despite him heading off, Jessica decides that she's going to leave Taylor, the older sister, to mind Alice, and she just heads off into town. She's like, I'm going to head off, and then it turns out she's visiting her dad in a mental hospital. That wasn't mentioned before, but that he was in a mental hospital. It's just fucking bizarre. They're just like, off she goes. I'm just going to leave them. I haven't seen him in God knows how long. I'm going to go and visit him and leave you two kids alone on your own. And like, it's just so fucking stupid. Like he cuts in like the father.
They just construct these stupid narrative things just to try and set up a scene. But that's what, like, at least with this is like, right, okay, she's going into town with a stupid fucking thing she's doing, but this is setting up something. Something has to fucking happen in this movie now. Somebody has to die, or the Teddy has to do something rather than just the camera looking at the Teddy, looking this way, then they show another shot of a Teddy and it's looking a different way. It's like, where's the scariness in this movie? And like,
and this is coming from you who hates fucking horror.
Like, it's nothing terrifying. It was just, it was actually
it's daytime
just like,
television horror. Like,
it's cheap scare fucking nonsense.
But the dad, anyway, she visits the mental hospital. He's obviously been in there quite a while. He doesn't even recognize her when she comes in. And then we cut back to Taylor, who again is just a terrible babysitter and sister and person, because she just says to Alice, listen, you go ahead and have fun with your invisible friend. I'll have fun with mine. And she invites over the neighbor fella, who is an absolute bell end. Like, it jumps up a notch. Like, she's like, let's watch a movie. And he pulls out what is supposed to be a bag of MDMA. And he's like, let's just take these things. It's like, hang on a fucking second.
She's
Where did that
15,
come
man.
from? Like, she's 15. She just said she was happy for you to come over and watch a movie. He's fucking gone. He's an absolute bella. We'd realize later on they're not a bag of yolks, but it's something else.
Still low.
But still, you're like, where the fuck is this going to go home? What is Jessica going to come home to? You know? But it cuts back to the mental home. The father's lucid. He realizes, okay, that's his daughter, and he starts fucking freaking out and has to be, you know, sedated and stuff because the shit that happened in the house. And then we cut back again to Liam, the neighbor dickhead, and he's fucking trying to get like drink booze out of the gaff. He's like, "Do you want some booze?" She's like, "No, let's just watch the fucking movie. I'm 15," and he fucking ends up breaking it. And he's supposed to be cleaning up the booze, so he goes to get some towels or rags or whatever, and he ends up going up to the bedrooms, and he hears some music coming from a music box thing, and he turns it off, and then he just hears Alice doing Chauncey's voice, "Stay away from my stuff," like fucking creepy shit. Like, it's
so pathetic.
It's so pathetic, and there's no suspense. Like, he goes into Jack's, he hears the music and all this stuff, and then because he's already seen the bear under Alice's arm, and she's told him just, you know, stay away from her bear,
and
stay
he's
away
a
from her
dickhead
shit.
to Alice as well.
He's a dickhead to the kid.
They set him up perfectly as like, oh, this guy's an asshole. He's going to get it from the teddy, right?
Because she's come in with like a jar of bugs that she's collected, which is part of the scavenger hunt, and he picks them up when he starts fucking taking the piss out of her and stuff. And like, it's just, it's so, I'm waiting for this motherfucker to get killed. But he goes into the Jacks, and he tells himself he's just tripping out, which we find out later on that these weren't even fucking drugs. It's your one's fucking blood pressure pills or something like that. But anyway, he is at the start, you're like, is he tripping? Because he knows they're not drugs. He took them off his mask. Why does he think he's tripping? Then he looks and he sees that there's a bear-shaped thing under a towel in the kitchen with this fucking string that's moved along the ground. He's like, well, what are the rules here then? Can the bear move? Can the bear move things?
Has it got opposable thumbs? How did it put the towel on itself?
Yeah, like he does it. He sees the string. He lets go. That they're stand on the string of the bear, and all of a sudden the sheet the thing starts coming towards him, and it turns into a giant fucking bear with teeth to jump scare him. But then that just fucking disappears.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like, is that the manifestation? Is it just getting inside of his head? Is this some sort of being? Because if it's supposed to be just her imaginary friend or Jessica's imaginary friend, why are other people able to see it?
Yeah. And the fact that, as you were saying, nothing happens to this guy who they've been set up and like as an absolute wanker. We've said that, but then it's just the scares in this scene, which they try and shoot it like a very it's an ominous fucking scene, and it's just Teddy hiding under towels. And nothing happens to the guy. Like the imaginary monster is this fucking like, this dangerous fucking imaginary monster lets this kid walk out of the house unharmed. It's like, why has he not been murdered? Like, come on. It's just such a fucking pointless thing, and it's nothing as scary about a little tiny Teddy under a fucking hand towel.
And he's obviously shit himself. The mother, Jessica, comes home, calls his mother over, and his mother's like, "These are my fucking allergy meds, you like dickhead. Like, they're not even jokes." So fucking Jessica then finds her art damage, and she confronts Alice, and Alice is hiding under the blanket in her room. Straight away, you can't see her head. You can't see, like, I know that's not Alice in there. I know that the reveal, anybody who's ever seen a movie before knows that that's not her under there. So she starts talking. She's not getting an answer back from this pile of whatever under the blanket. And she's like, she starts talking about how she lost her dad, and her dad did something bad and all that, pouring her heart out, about how she loves the girls and all this kind of stuff. Check that it's
not a pillow.
Yeah, have a quick check, because then she hears Alice's voice coming from outside in the garden. So you're supposed to get to,
two pairs
who's under the covers? Who has she been talking to? And so there's the super slow-mo turn around, and she takes the covers off, and of course it's the bear that's under the blanket, and we can kind of see the shadow of some creature or dude in the background. But like, again, it's super telegraphed, not fucking scary. And I'm waiting for it to happen. Like, give me something fucking scary, because it's just boring as shit. We're like halfway through the movie at this point.
Oh God, yeah.
And but the bear is still telling the little kid to do stuff, and one of which is something that tells her she has to do something that hurts.
Mm.
And so she's fucking mad. Like, I thought this was actually going to happen. This was the
Yeah.
one, the only cool parts in it. She fucking gets a big fucking plank with a rusty nail in it, and she's just about to fucking slam her hand down on top of it. And the Jessica knocks it away just in time. And they're fucking.
And you say just in time, but like she obviously runs out the back garden to do that. Would she not just shout before she gets there? She gets there just in time, just to knock it away from her with her hand, just like for the shot. Oh
just
yeah,
go, Alice, no,
screaming like, don't do that, please. You fucking. It's just cheap filmmaking. Oh.
Yeah, and it's on this fucking list, as I said, of shit that she's supposed to, part of her scavenger hunt thing he's asking her to do. So because of all this shit that's going on, they decide to get a therapist to come in and speak to Alice. Again, this is not enough for Max to say, maybe I should come home. My youngest child is going through some sort of psychotic break to the point where a therapist has to come to the house. And the therapist apparently was their therapist when their ma had left, when they were younger. But the fact this therapist has to come to the house, that she's having a break, that she was trying to hurt herself, is not enough to him to go to his band and go, you know what, lads, some things are more important. Maybe I'll head home to my family. He's just like, nah. You can handle it. I'll just stay out because we've already fucking wrapped filming on my day of filming.
Exactly.
But yeah, so we're coming into some of the one of the funniest scenes, right? So Alice is telling the therapist about how Chauncey at the bear is asking her to hurt herself. So it's jumped up from just let's play this game and let's do this. And she says, then why don't you tell Chauncey that you're scared when he asks you to hurt yourself? And so she starts having the conversation. This is probably the only creepy thing in the movie because she turns her
scene,
back.
like up to this point.
Yeah, because she turns her back. The therapist is recording it on like a little VHS or a little a handy cam as recording the session. And so Alice has got her back, turns her back to look over at the bear on the couch. And she starts telling, you fucking really hurt me, and that she's crying and stuff when she says it. But she's answering back then in her own voice, but what Chauncey's saying, and that's probably the creepiest thing because she's having Chauncey responding and she's changing her voice, and it's so, we get cuts to her face and, back to her face behind her head saying it in the other voice, and it's well done. It's actually quite good.
Anymore, Chauncey. Maybe we shouldn't be friends. No.
And you can see the therapist looks, freaked out and stuff. You're like, okay, this is pretty cool. This is actually, is it going to take her over? Is it going to be, Gollum style stuff here, with multiple personalities, or what way are they going to do it? But she's obviously been treating this kid before and has never seen an episode like this. But Chauncey is telling Alice that Jessica is bad news and Jessica will leave her and all this stuff. And the therapist thinks this is a manifestation of Alice's actual feelings towards Jessica, But then Chauncey starts saying, obviously in Alice's voice, that if the therapist does anything, he's going to hurt the therapist and hurt her nasty granddaughters. So he's like, the therapist is taken aback, like, how the fuck would this person know about my granddaughters? But this time when she says that, Alice is looking directly at the therapist, and her mouth isn't moving. But we can hear Chauncey's voice and the creepy voice, but Alice's mouth isn't moving. You're like, oh shit's about to go down.
Whoa.
Okay, it's getting creepy. We're finally getting into it. But then this next part fucking completely ruins it. And I pissed myself laughing to the point where I rewound it to watch it again.
Me too.
Because the kid Alice comes running out of the session and she's fucking crying. And Jessica and Taylor are there, but Alice just runs past them. And the therapist comes out and it looks completely shocked on her face and goes, I just need to ask, has Alice taken up any new hobbies recently? Like ventriloquism. It's just fucking... What the fuck are you talking about? This kid is fucking 5 years old. She has not taken up ventriloquism. It's on your fucking video. You heard the fucking voice. Like, it's just...
she asked it so with a straight face. I'd love to know, like, how many takes did it take to do that? Like ventriloquism. I almost spat my fucking water out. Oh. It's so bad.
But it's like you said, it's like the dialogue is so bad, but what makes it funny is the delivery. Like, it's not delivered with
like
any sort of humor where you kind of have a laugh. It's deadly serious.
This is an actual question you would ask the mother of a 5-year-old.
Yeah,
Has she
my
taken
real
up
child.
ventriloquism? Yeah, actually, she has. What the fuck are you
And
talking about?
it's absolutely insane. And
But
so
it
she
would have been
tells Jessica,
very
look,
good ventriloquism as well. It would have been quite
oh, it would have been,
spectacular. Like,
yeah.
yeah,
Because she's
she's won the
sitting there,
best
like, I
round.
think she's sitting there, like moping, like crying, like, because she's so upset. Yet this voice, this voice in her exact voice changed slightly to sound creepy, is managing to talk just the way. So I fucking cracked up laughing at it. Like I'd imagine that scene is probably on YouTube. If anybody wants to look it up, it's fucking ridiculous.
It's so good.
But yeah, so the therapist tells Jessica, coincidentally, that she's ran into a case like this before, where a kid hurt himself because of an imaginary friend, and she shows a video of the kid, and he's using a lot of the same language that Chauncey did, never ever, and all these different types of sayings.
Did you hear
She's
the
like,
name?
"Holy shit,"
The name of the the name of the kid's Teddy. It's called Randy Rabbit.
yeah. I was like, isn't that a vibrator?
It's just like, what? Like, over the course of 2 minutes, just going, is this turned into a comedy inadvertently, or is this movie's going off the fucking rails here? Like, Randy Rabbit, ventriloquism. But yeah, fucking.
The cast of his imaginary friend was a dildo, like, just fucking vibrator. Like, it's
We
fucking
knew it
gas.
all along.
But so Jessica goes into the basement then, and she finds her old stuff, and she finds there's pictures that she'd drawn as a kid that she'd forgotten about. And she finds never ever and stuff written in it. And like Taylor and the therapist are like, where the fuck is she running off to? But she comes back, she has a box of art, and it has a lot of the same stuff that Alice has been saying, like the boy in the video has been saying. She's like, look, we need to destroy the bear. And the therapist was like, what bear? And Taylor's like, what bear are you talking about? He's like, the bear she brought in with her. And she's like, I didn't say I never saw Alice with any bear. What the hell are you talking about? And so she shows Jessica the video, and there's no bear there. And it says there never was any bear.
Yeah.
So here is the point that I was making earlier on about the bear being under the bed. Like, she gets out her video and she looks back at the videos that she could see, and there was never any bear. Alice was having a tea party by herself, and obviously her lunatic mother. But there's no, and she sees Jesus. The bear was never there. So when we pan down under the bed at the start of the movie, we see the bear there, but no one is interacting with them. This is us seeing the bear. It's not fucking Alice. It's not Jessica. So what was the point? If the bear isn't real and no one can see him, why are you showing us the imaginary bear that isn't there?
What was hiding under the towels? For
Yeah.
Just like, what? Oh, yeah.
If this thing is literally imaginary that isn't there the whole lot, why is it able to get into someone else who maybe doesn't even believe in imaginary friends, like that neighborhood dickhead kid? But like, so she starts fucking freaking out then, because she's like, there's no fucking bear. She's been seeing it like so often nobody else has. She starts telling the therapist, like, I fucking feel like I'm going nuts. But what's mad here, right, is that we're now coming into what's going to be towards the final act of the movie, right? And at this point, how has nobody fucking mentioned the bear? We've mentioned Chauncey. We've mentioned him an imaginary friend. But how has nobody at any point corrected Jessica when she says that the bear is the one talking to her? The bear, they might have gone, what bear? Because this has been going on now for days or weeks or whatever of her hanging out with this bear. How at no point has Jessica mentioned the bear and someone not said, what the fuck bear are you talking about? There's nobody else bear. If no one else has seen it, how has it gotten this far that nobody else that she hasn't mentioned it to be corrected? Or where's the bear? I haven't seen you with your bear.
Yeah, that's another aspect of this which is just lame, and it's just like, it's fucking, they're just coming up with it as they go along or something, because they're kind of going, pulling the wool from under you, just like, oh, here we go, she's seen the bear and all this, and just like, oh, here's your big fucking twist. But as you're saying, that they're lying to us as filmmakers by showing all this, and there's no way that we go, oh wow, because you're kind of going, but like, it was, you told us there was a bear, like, it's not Jessica telling us, you told us, motherfucker. So now you're saying there's no bear. It's just like, fuck off. Like, that's not clever. It's just, it doesn't make really any sense. And you think it does, but it doesn't.
No, exactly, Dad. No, that's exactly it. Like, and like the how they're not at this point, either even the father or Jessica saying, what fucking bear? Like, what's going on? Because
that could have been a cool reveal if it was told correctly. And I love when that happens in movies where you haven't been thinking about something, or like Sixth Sense and stuff like that, where you actually look back and
Yeah.
you go, oh, fucking hell. And you look back through the movie and you go, oh, fuck yeah. Like it was right in front of my eyes. But,
Yeah, that's
and
done
it's very
properly
clever,
for sure. Like.
But yeah, and they obviously thought that was really cool. Like, wait till they fuck, wait until we tell them there's no bear. It's like no one fucking cares.
Just
man.
like, well, then, yeah, exactly. Why were you showing us the bear when it was just for
us.
the audience alone? Like I said, under the bed, that wasn't the neighborhood kid. It wasn't for any of them. It was just for the audience alone to see this bear. So if it wasn't there, why the fuck are you showing it to us? Like,
yeah.
So anyway, the therapist seems to think this is all explainable. She's fucking so chilled about it after showing a video of this kid who'd fucking cut off his own finger because of being told that the fucking imaginary friend, all this kind of stuff. And she's like, he's got a lot of stress going on. You know, that's probably what it is. It's like, hang on a second. You heard a voice coming from nowhere while that child was looking at it.
Yeah.
You caught it on video. This fucking other kid is saying the same shit that this kid, and Jessica has just told her that she saw the same stuff when she was younger, and she's fucking tripping out from not seeing this magical bear. How is the therapist not more freaked out? She's just like, you're just stressed. You're just stressed. Have a cup of herbal tea and go have a nap. You know what I mean? Just, how is she not fucking terrified?
And that video of the kid and the Randy Rabbit kid or whatever with his imaginary friends, like that was 10 years ago. And she seemingly pieces it together because he says, never ever. He said, at the end of a sentence, she goes, you know, and that pieces it all together from 10 years ago. Somebody said never ever 10 years ago, and you piece that together. It wasn't the fucking weird shit and people cutting off their fingers and trying to fucking imaginary friends. It's just 2 words. Oh, never ever. Yeah, nonsense. But she's way too chill, this fucking therapist. Like she's on lewds or something. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, she's nuts. But like, again, this is, we go in with, it's more that when we go down into the basement, like she goes down to the basement, I think she's trying to basically, she realizes that, you know, he must have, you know, he was obviously a bear when, or her imaginary friend when she was a kid, and she kind of just wants to go down and apologize, hoping this will end everything, you know. But again, this bear thing moves even when she has her eyes closed. We're back to the thing again. If only she can see it. Why are we seeing it? Why isn't it just popping up? It still seems to be able to move, and not only that, move other objects. You know, so like it's just mental. Like, why is it able to move items and stuff even when she's not watching? If this is something that nobody can see, it's ridiculous. Anyway, she's going through all her own shit, and she finds that she finds stuff, all these drawings she had done, and they all had the little bear in them. And one of them was like the bear, but with this dark figure behind the drawer, a door, and we see the door elsewhere as well. And then we cut down to the basement, and we see Alice is actually painting a door that we see in the from the wall. So she's performing this like ritual that Chauncey's asked her to do. So all the stuff on the scavenger hunt, the hurting herself, to doing all this kind of stuff is being a ritual Chauncey's telling her to do. And then when Jessica and Taylor come down to the basement, they find a crawl space, but Alice isn't there. And they call the cops, and the cops are out looking for the kids and all this shit. And Jessica tells Taylor, I think my childhood imaginary friend, Alice's imaginary friend, are the same thing, which apparently is the movie. But Taylor quite rightly is like, bitch, you are off your fucking nut. Like, this, what the fuck are you talking about? The kid's gone missing, and you think an imaginary friend took her. Now, yes, that is what happened. But quite rightly, this is the one time Taylor is actually acting rationally and going, you're fucking nuts.
What are you on about? What kind of sentence is that?
So but then she's real harsh as well. She goes like, fucking, she ran off because you're a bad mother and you're not needed. It's like, ooh, burn, what a dickhead. It's so harsh. But here's back, Daz, to your favorite. This is Gloria inviting her back. Then I think we'll have a chat for this scene, because Gloria invites her back to the Taylor back to the gaff after she runs into her and says, listen, here's all this stuff Jessica drew as a kid, and here's where we get this exposition dump. Like, she is talking about Jessica opening a world into another reality, that she's into the occult and she knows all this stuff. But like, we get this fucking like massive audio, or massive like, we get audio cut back to Jessica as she's, you know, doing stuff in the house. But like, for the most part, it's just one big fat exposition dump. It's unreal.
It's way too much. And because like at this point she does, like, it's like this movie's already been fucking 2 hours longer than it should have been. But when we get to the scene, yeah, it's it's a massive exposition dump, but she's potentially talking about otherworldly realms and imagination realms, and you're kind of going, all right, maybe there's a fucking saving grace here, like what? But it's there's so much stuff that she's talking that's just for, I guess, for Taylor and for the viewer, you're just kind of going, what? Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck are you on about? It's so much fucking shite she's on about.
And it's to kind of explain it, like they overlap the audio of that exposition when they cut back to Jessica in the house. And she's obviously saying the same words that she had written on the wall are what was on, Alice's fucking ritual list. So she starts fucking writing over those, painting over those words so they can be seen again on the wall. And like, again, this is the old lady once again says that every culture has a name for these spirits because every kid has an imaginary friend.
Yeah, of course.
They fucking don't. Stop trying to sell this. They don't. Like it's a very small amount of people have these things, and it's completely normal, and they grow out of it. But to act again that this is every culture has them because every child has an imaginary friend. Like, I just don't get why they kept hammering down on that as if it was a thing. Like,
yeah, it's just.
You know what I mean?
But there's one of these. Fucking pet hate one of these jump scare things again. This just shows we're getting towards, we're kind of in the third act here, and you're kind of going, right, you can really ramp up the scares and just go fucking full tilt now. But they still have, like, when Taylor runs back from the old lady's house into her house, Jesse's coming down the stairs, and you get another one of these, like, jump scares with the music cue just because they see each other in the stairs. You frightened me. And it's just like, it's the equivalent of just hiding outside the bathroom as someone comes out, your wife, a friend, or whatever, and going, boo, gotcha. You can do that 100 times and it'll still frighten them. But here it's just like, I didn't see you coming up the stairs because I was looking this way, you were looking that way. It's like, oh, fuck off. Like, it's just, that's the level we're still getting to. And it's like, get to something interesting. Let's do something. Where's the imaginary place? I'm sure that'll be fucking cool and trippy.
And when she comes back, like you said, when she comes running to the Taylor, she comes back and she's like, I've actually been speaking to that L one, and now I do believe in imaginary friends, because she's like, she's like the separation of Jessica and her imaginary friend is, that's not supposed to happen. It happened the way it in a bad way, and that's why all this fucking awful shit is happening. She's making all sorts of connections between the fucking spirit world and our world, and telling them they need to go and do the same scavenger hunt in order to open the spirit realm. But fucking Taylor is just, after being 5 minutes ago was like, this is all bollocks, there's no such thing as imaginary friends, to being 100% on board. Anyway, they do the fucking ritual and they open a door in the wall, and they're able to go into the spirit realm. And the spirit realm actually kind of looked okay. It was kind of like an Escher painting mixed with like Tim Burton or something.
Yeah, Alice in Wonderland kind of stuff. Yeah, but in terms of but there's not a lot of imagination things in there.
No, it's basically just corridors and just weird stairs.
Corridors with the kind of checkered tiling and twisted hallways, and you're kind of going, that looks cool as a concept, but the budget wasn't obviously there to do fucking anything else. There's no one in it except fucking the bad guy.
And I think that's one of those fucking doors they talk about, is where they look back and we get more explanation as to what happened to Jessica when she was younger. Like, so she, her dad, it was why her dad ended up in a mental home, because her dad saw Jessica basically trying to get fucking pulled through this window by this horrible demon, and he tried to fight the demon off, and whatever it did to him, it drove him nuts, and that's why he ended up in the home.
But that lady, that lady when they were when they were about to go into the fucking imagination realm or whatever. Yeah. When she, I wrote this down, like I couldn't believe this dialogue was actually happening when she was saying it, but she was confessing that she let 5-year-old Jessie go through to this fucking portal, and just like, I'm sorry I let you go in there alone, like, I'm sorry I wasn't brave, or all this stuff. And what the fuck is going on here? This old lady's a fucking dickhead, and she was the babysitter. It's just like, Jesus Christ, I know her motives come to the fore a bit later on, but it's just like, fucking hell. It's just like, and she's 80 now, so she was a grown ass woman when she was babysitting, and let a 5-year-old go down into the basement into a fucking portal, and just went, fuck, I'm not going in there after. It's just like, what a dick.
And we straight away get to see her being a dick because they're only just in the place.
Yeah.
And they have a door that they've opened into this realm. And they've left like something pried in there to keep it open. She comes back and she closes it. And she says, look, we can stay in here. This is much better than the real world. And she calls the imaginary friend the entity. And she's like, the entity promised that we could live here in a place of joy and possibilities. And it turns out it's because she's just a fucking nutcase that's been doing his bidding. So but it's obviously being lying to her. But
how can it talk to her? That's the thing. It's just like it's an imaginary. Don't know, don't care. They just go. It'll be cool. So we'll give her a cool death. Yeah.
This is not. This is like this creature is. They say that they're each tied to one person. Yet this thing is able to. Liam's able to see it. Fucking. It's able to talk to the neighbor who's not even in the house. So and communicate with her from whatever. Like I don't know. She's been calling over there, on a regular basis, and he's been hiding out saying, "Listen, you need to get this. You need to do this. You need to do this."
Yeah. So has she been in this realm? When we go through that doorway, are we in Alice's imagination? Is this a fucking different world?
I think this is I think this is just the land of where these creatures hang out or something. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, there's no one there. Like,
yeah, but like, so they like the she ends up getting killed as gas. She's mid speech talking about how amazing it's going to be in this realm and da 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 da. And while she's saying it, one of the doors opens and some fucking big ass monster just fucking comes out, grabs her and drags her through, like fucking kick it and scream and kill her. We just and the thing is, it's such PG nonsense that we don't even get. She just gets dragged in and the camera goes down. We just see some blood coming out from under some fucking, colored fucking syrup or whatever coming out from under the door, and that's it. You're just like, oh fucking hell, he's rip her head off or something. Show us something
do something.
But like they head off, as I said, we mentioned there's all these fucking doors, and they head off looking for Alice and all the doors, and they keep finding all sorts of fucking creepy shit. Fucking giant bear, and the one of them has like Alice. Alice is like an Evil Dead character. Yeah. The fucking makeup they put on her, like it's just like I don't know, man. Like as I said, this is fucking dragging on at this point. Like I could have done with 2 or 3 minutes in this fucking place. You know what I mean? Go in, get the kid, slay your demons, and get out. But it's just like. Fucking just get to the point. It's just fucking dragging as fuck. Like,
because nothing interesting is happening, even in this imaginary fucking realm of monsters or something. It's just like nothing's happening. It's like a bad TV movie or something. It's just like
yeah.
It's
and I think they
awful.
They open the one door. They open because they obviously lead to different fucking parts of the past or all this shit. Like they open one of them and they find there's a door that's an apartment before Jessica came along. So it's when it's a happy time for Alice. She's got like presents and a puppy, and her biological mother's still with the family and all that kind of stuff. And it's just this fucking happy place. And of course it's not her real biological man. It's the fucking monster. But Jessica starts fucking drawing on the walls and pulling things apart using her imagination. It doesn't explain how she knows this would work.
Yeah, I love this when just like there's no rules. There's no rules of the world been established at all. They've literally just drawn something on a fucking wall and gone into a fucking imagination realm or something. And then she's like, oh, well, what we'll do, let's get everything blue in the room and put it around in the shape of a door, and that's going to just turn it into a fucking door, right? Of course. Of course.
Before I even get that, she just says she's pulling things apart, like and saying like that you can use your imagination to break the barrier in the walls. But again, there's no mention to how she can do this at all. There's no mention. And then, like you said, they're trying to fucking paint the door, whatever else. Like it doesn't explain. Anyway, the door opens and they get out, and Jessica's left then to confront this fucking spirit, monster thing. And she still has scissors with her that she carried over from the real world. So she stabs him in the face, and she ends up falling through, and she's back into the corridors again. And then she manages to find the original door that Gloria closed, and she pries it open with the scissors to get out. Of course, it's not the real ending, because we cut to them in a mental home. She's reading her latest book to her dad, and who's in bed in the mental hospital. Max is back after being fucking zero help to anybody. But it's not all as it seems. It's all too perfect, and she realizes, no, I'm still in the spirit realm. And it turns out that Alice was bait, and that the creature wanted Jessica all along.
Yeah.
It's the visual representation of these characters are gas because they're in the fucking mental hospital. When she turns around, Max is there, the kid is, and they just give them these gigantic black bug eyes, and they're supposed to be scary versions. Like you think that if you think of Coraline, amazing, incredible movie,
that's
and they
scary,
put the buttons, over their eyes and stuff, and it's creepy as fuck, like, and it's great, so well done. But they're these big, huge bug eyes. Just give them full-on black contact lenses, like black over their eyes, fully black them out. That would be creepy enough.
Don't make them look like these cartoon characters.
Yeah, and they don't explain why. They've all got these gigantic, but they don't explain why. It just makes it funnier cool again. Then
look cool, apparently.
It's dopey as shit. Like, but Taylor comes in and saves her, and this time they get out for real. Taylor comes in and smacks her with whatever the fuck she has.
But these escapes, right? The first fake escape when she gets out, like when she falls and like breaks her ankle or something like that, and she's just running to the door, and it's just the lamest escape scene. There's no fucking urgency, and it's like, oh, get away. It's just she just gets away in about fucking 10 seconds, just runs down the corridor, gets out the door. And the second one, escape, is even worse than the fucking first one. It's just like, it's so shit. You're just like, oh, here we go, hockey stick to the face, and she gets out, and that's it. And
hockey stick,
like,
that was it. Yeah.
What the fuck is going on? It's just so bad. Like, just
ugh. And they're kind of, as you said before about the painting, Daz, like when they get to the other side, now they're using paint to paint over and seal the door.
Oh yeah.
So this fucking thing. Yeah. Because that's how it'll solve it. But while they're doing that, this fucking the spirit that's been after them comes to. I think we probably see, is this what his real version? He looks kind of more like a dude now than a big monster. And he's using these fucking hypno eyes to kind of keep them all fucking, caught in his glare.
Just like
so
kind of TV screens in his eyes. TV screens in his eyes, just flicking through stuff, and it's just like, what the fuck what's that? Like, ugh.
Yeah, and because none of that's mentioned anywhere before in the movie, like, and so Alice then there's been fucking whatever grease or oil or something that's being poured all over the ground. She picks up matches and she sets the creature on fire, and the whole house burns down. And again, like that's it. The house burns down. This should supposedly that's supposedly the end of it. When they go to check into a hotel, and when they go to check in the first one, we see there's some kid there, and he's having a conversation with an imaginary friend about his imaginary friend, and it's the same fucking bear. It's like, why you? Forget it. I'm not going to get into it again. I've said it enough. But they're like, I think they look over. They hear the kid talking about the imaginary bed. They're like, let's get a different hotel, and they head off to a different hotel. And so it's one last zinger to go out on.
But did you just talking about that house? The house. That again, this is one of those. Would you just wondering like who's writing it and who's directing? But when they're the same fucking person, like when they run out after the house is burnt down, Taylor goes to run back in again, and Jesse's like, no, let it burn. And just like, what the fuck was Taylor going to do? The house is fully on fire. Why are you going to run in with a cloth? Like, what the fuck are you doing? But it's sort of B-movie nonsense. But it's on fire for about 9 seconds, and the fire brigade arrives. It's just like the response time is like, wow,
incredible response time. Yeah, this is the best fire brigade in America. Like,
but the last 30 minutes of this were like, it just ramped up on the nonsense level. That it was still just kind of boring. You're just looking at it going, nothing's grabbing me. Like there's a few moments like when we see her just about to maybe open that door, there's a profile shot of her, and you see in the shadow of the monster kind of leaning out with its hands towards her and stuff like that. That 3 seconds, you're kind of going, ooh, that's the best thing in the movie. Like every now and then there is kind of cool shots with shadows hidden, but that's it. It's a movie where there's just shadows and teddy bears.
yeah, that's it exactly. Like, 'cause, like apart from Gloria, who gets fucking killed by the imaginary bear and stuff, everybody else is fucking grand. You know what I mean? No one else dies. Everyone else is grand. And like the scenes that we mentioned earlier on, when Alice is kind of talking with the other voice, those kind of things, that's kind of creepy. And the one where she's in the room, and when she pans across, you can see there is actually someone sitting at the it's human legs, because it's the biomom. That's those kind of things. That's kind of cool,
but it just doesn't go anywhere.
The things you're talking about are so far between. Like there's one where Alice is walking up with the teddy bear the very first time up the stairs, and we see the shadow slowly creeping up after him.
Yeah.
But that's it. Then it's gone again. We don't see the shadow in the house until you mentioned it later on in the movie.
But it's like when you think of, before you watch it, and you're saying you read a line out of the description or something, and it's like, oh, premise could be quite interesting, but they keep botching the premise. Like they introduce the concept, but then they don't develop it at all. They just remind you of the concept again. It's like, oh, here's the concept, bear, yeah, and you're like, I know, like we get it. Are we going to move it on? No. Here's the concept again. Yeah, I fucking get it. Like, what are we going to do with it? Where's the tension? It's just fucking shadows and shots of teddy bears sitting somewhere or hiding under sheets. It's like we get that. Like, oh, fuck me, like. Just didn't go anywhere.
It is, yeah. And as I said, I chose this one solely based because I'd seen the poster was in the cinema, and it was just because it was just a teddy bear with the word imaginary over it. And I was like, and I heard it was a horror. I was like, this is the judging a book by its cover. I thought this could be something creepy. This is going to be fucking imaginary friends that aren't there. There's going to be a whole mess of them, or this fucking thing is going to go on some sort of psycho killing spree. Yeah. Literally, the only person that fucking dies is the L1. Who, to be honest, was on the way out anyway and was in league with this monster. Like there's no one else dies. No one. The father's barely fucking there. He'll come back now. Won't believe a word any of them are saying. What are you talking about? Fucking imaginary friends, imaginary realm? Because they have no proof. Everything they say to him, they have zero proof. So their dad is going to think they're a fucking nut job because no proof of anything they're saying. He hasn't seen the door. He hasn't seen the monster. Yeah, the house is burnt down. There's no fucking evidence. All he knows is that they're going to start saying to him. So he's going to be like, these fuckers are winding me up, or something terrible happened, and they're fucking trying to hide it under, like, traumatic happened, and they're trying to hide it under this weird ass story. Did you kill that old lady neighbor? Is that what happened? And this is the story you come up with? Like it's
come up just with something better.
Yeah, how are you going to explain this away? Like, how are you going to explain to the insurance company why did the house burn down? Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, we were trying to close a magical bear, right? Portal. Yeah. You know the imaginary friend portal where
that everyone has.
That oh yeah. Well, we had to try and close that with a bunch of paint, and then burn the house down. And you know how it is. You're lucky. There's a clause in your insurance, in your fire insurance contract that covers that.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah, the imaginary friend clause. You're fine. It's just, it's such a dumb movie. Like, I think, if we're doing half stars, it's getting half a star.
Oh yeah, half a star just for. Well, I don't even know what it's for. Just for a couple.
Just for the ventriloquism.
The ventriloquism. Laugh my ass off for about 3 minutes, and actually having to rewind a bit once or twice, which is. But yeah, it's not even. It's not even, as I was saying. It's not so bad. It's good. It's actually just. It's fun because we're reviewing this and having a bit of fucking crack, but it's for anyone else, it's a complete waste of time, and do not see it at any cost. Like, just
don't
try and find the ventriloquism scene and watch that.
It's similar to what we had said before, about the Five Nights at Freddy's thing, like that you would, it's horror, it's dumb horror, but there's a lot of fun in it. Like, you watch that and laugh out loud how silly it is and how ridiculous character of Vanessa and stuff. It's a fun watch despite being not a very good movie. This is not fun, not a good movie, not well cast, not well acted, not well written, and for the most part, not really well shot.
It's not scary, and it's boring. And it feels like it's fucking 4 hours long. It's just...
Yeah, it's a slog, man.
Yeah, which is a...
Yeah, so steer clear of that one.
Absolutely.
That's us wrap it up and not talk about it ever again.
Super duper. Thanks for that, Phil. That was fucking great. Laugh my ass off. So that is an end for this episode of Middle Age Geeks. Thanks everyone for liking and subscribing and listening. And if you have any feedback, get in touch at middleagegeeks@yahoo.com. Any final thoughts for yourself, Philly?
Nope, just what you said. Just echo what you said. Keep it coming. Keep all that good stuff coming. Keep on watching, listening. And we look forward to bringing you the next one, hopefully, which will be maybe a bit better.
Fingers crossed. Catch you next week. Bye.
Take it easy, guys.